What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the WarnerCast. Thank you all for tuning in. I think this is episode 33 now. And for the first time since I've brought Colin on, you can see both of our faces. It's not just him there awkwardly beside a blue screen. I have finally done my job. I finally YouTubed a little bit, and I figured out how to do it. I also figured out how to make it so you guys can hear me. So, yeah, good thing. I've been doing this for like a few years now, and I'm figuring it out now. Anyways, today we have a pretty good show lined up for you. We have a lot of things to talk about. Some RFAs have signed contracts, some have not. Some teams have created discourse this week. It's been a painful week for me. I'm coping by wearing my Oilers jersey right now. This is my coping method when my team becomes a league-wide embarrassment. But before we get to any of that, I have to turn it over to Colin here because it's his turn for trivia. He's apparently prepared something for me that's really good. I'm excited to hear what he has to say.
It's a little tough.
Oh.
Okay. So since last week you did the Leafs quiz, I thought it was
Uh-oh.
fitting for me to do an Oilers quiz.
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
Okay.
Question number one.
Is it just like an Oilers quiz, or is there like a specific year, or is it just Edmonton Oilers?
No, it's just the Oilers.
All right.
Just just like in general. How many seasons have the Oilers been in the NHL for?
Okay, let's do some math here. Okay, so the WHA ended in 1979, meaning their first year was 1980. The 1979-80 season. So, um, 80 through 89 is 10, 20, 30, 40. I'm going to say that they've completed 42 seasons and they're entering into their 43rd NHL season.
That would be correct.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And how many times have the Oilers made the playoffs in the 42 seasons?
Okay, is this part two to that question, or is this the second question?
No, this is just number two.
Okay, how many times have they made the playoffs? Oh, boy. Okay, let's... Oh, God. Let me do some more math here, shall I? They made it? Oh, does the play-in round count?
Uh, you know what? Yeah, let's just count it.
But what if the number you have didn't count it?
Well, if it's close enough, then
Listen, I'm just gonna guess 25, because I feel like that's a realistic number.
that was pretty close, actually. It's 22.
Oh man, yeah, I forgot there were a lot of years of failure for this team.
Yeah.
Uh, for the Taylor Hall, Nugent Hopkins, Nail Yakupov. One's still here, the other's in Russia, and the other one we traded for a guy who we let go to Seattle, and we protected an anti-vaxxer over him. That's great. That's great. All right, move on to the next one, please.
Number three. Who is the longest serving Oiler of all time in how many games or years?
Okay, there are a few different guys who. So you mean all time, like throughout the?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go for an off the board one, but I know that this isn't an off the board answer in Edmonton. This guy is really beloved. I think I'm wrong, but I'm gonna guess. Is is it Ryan Smith? And is the answer like 14 years ish?
No.
No. Okay.
It was Kevin Lowe he went from 1979 to 1998.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he played I think his whole career
I
of 1,037 games in Edmonton.
Wow. Well, shout out
Yeah.
to Kevin Lowe, who also is getting his number retired this year. So
Oh
I
wow.
I should have known that. Now
Hmm.
I do. Don't hate me, Oilers fan base. Please don't.
Okay, question 4. Who is the longest serving Oilers GM of all time? And how many years?
Oh, boy. I'm not good with general managers that are in the past. I'm trying to think of the GM back when they were in the Gretzky era, and I can't think of them. And I can't even name. I know the most. I can't even name. There was in recent times, Holland's only been there for 2. Chiarelli was there for
Yeah.
4. Before that, it was Craig McTavish, who, by the way, got absolutely screwed over. He got fired after the 2015 draft lottery, meaning even though that was he was the GM, they won Connor McDavid, and then he got fired for winning after he won Connor McDavid. Sure, it's an Oilers thing to do. I don't know. Honestly, I give up.
Glenn Sathers, 20
Are
years from
you
1980 to 2000.
actually that name came to mind right after I
Mm.
said I give up and I don't know. I was like, it's Glenn Sather,
Mm.
isn't it? And then you said it. Oh God. Okay. What's the I don't what's the final question?
Number 5, who are the Edmonton 6 to 10 point leaders of all time? And I just need their names.
6 through 10.
Yeah.
That is such a weird question to ask.
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like 1 through 5 was too easy because you would have like Gretzky, Messier,
fair.
Yari Curry.
Fair.
Yeah, so
Okay, let's dissect this. So, let me try and find the guys who aren't in it. Gretzky's not in it. Messier's not in it. In this, I think he's ahead. Curry. I think Paul Coffey played really well. Paul Coffey might be one of them. Okay, I'm gonna throw this one out here first because I'm pretty sure I'm right. I don't think he's played enough games yet to be able to hit a mark. Is Connor McDavid in this range?
yes.
Okay. Trying to think of who else could be here. I want to say both of Dry and Nuge, but I know that they're not it. I know that it's. I feel like Dry hasn't Dry had a. His start wasn't as electric as McDavid's, so I don't know if he made up enough points there. And Nuge has been there for a decade, but even then, I don't know. Is Paul Coffey in there?
No.
No. Okay, I'm gonna make the assumption he's probably top 5 because even though he was a defenseman, he was crazy for the
Yeah.
team. This is a hard one. This is a really hard one. Is Craig McTavish on the list?
No.
Damn. I know he was really good back then. Honestly, I really don't. Ryan Smith, is he on there?
Yes. He's number 6.
Okay. Wow. So McDavid, what number is McDavid? 7 or 8?
8, yeah.
Okay. Okay, Leon Draisaitl. Screw it. Throwing him out there.
Yep. He is number 9.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, wait then. So if Dry's on the list, is Nuge on there?
Number 10.
Oh my God. What a comeback. Okay, so there's one more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. Oh no. I'm so close.
Mm-hmm.
They're not currently active, are they?
No.
Okay. Because I was about to say, I don't think that there's any active Oiler other than the
No.
3 mentioned that have scored that many points. Do you know what years they played from? Like,
Um, No, but I can see.
Yeah, find what years they played from. I just want to know whether they were in the Gretzky era or whether they were in like the 90s to 2000s range.
He played from 91 to 2010.
Retired in 2010. Okay, so that entire era. This is going to be one of those ones where I say I don't know, you're going to say the name, and I'm going to be mad at myself, but I don't know.
You give up?
I give up.
Doug Waite.
Okay, I probably wouldn't have gotten that one then.
Yeah.
I did not even know he was an Oiler. I should have known, but I honestly, it didn't even cross my mind. All right, wow. So, nice job getting back at me for the Leafs trivia last week. Um, some hard questions in there, some pretty hard
Mhm.
questions. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, wow. Honestly, you know what? No, I'm proud of myself for that 6 through 10, man.
Yeah.
That was a hard task, and I pulled it off. I'm happy with myself on that one.
Uh-huh. Paul Coffey was actually number 5.
He was number 5, and I'm just trying to think of the top 5 who'd be up there. Gretzky's there, Messier's there, Curry's there, and if Coffey's there, there would still be one more.
Mhm. I think I have a picture of it.
All right, yeah, you quickly look that up, because like I just wonder. There's so many players like that played on those 80s teams that could have. Just can't think of which one.
Hmm.
God,
It was Glenn Anderson.
Glenn Anderson. Okay, okay. All right, there it is, folks. That's trivia. I hope Oilers fans don't get too mad at me. Um, so yeah, you know what? We're talking about the Oilers. Thank you for doing that because this is actually a perfect transition into what I think we should talk about first. Now, I will just point out, if you're an avid viewer of my channel, you already know what I'm going to talk about. I talked about it all yesterday. I made a 35-minute video in which I talked about this. I went over the entire 61-man training camp roster, all 61 of them. My vocal cords are kind of shattered right now, but I'm okay. I'm all right. I think. Let's talk about just the press conference today that Ken Holland made. We'll limit it to that because I feel like if I talk about the training camp roster, we have to talk about all the training camp rosters. But let's talk about the press conference today. Ken Holland held his press conference before the preseason press conference from Ken Holland, and he said a lot of things. He said a lot of things. A lot of cool, interesting, fun, upsetting things at times. And really, what I think everyone's going to take out of this podcast, what everyone's going to take out of this press conference is 3 main horrible or at least hard things to hear. Like, throughout it, he also did address some other things, like some prospects that could make the team and stuff like that. But nobody right now that I've seen is taking that out of the press conference. The 3 big things everyone's taking out of it are A, Alex Daylock, B, Duncan Keith, and C, Josh Archibald. That might sound like that is such like a random group of players to name off of this team. But unfortunately, they all have one thing that kind of links them together for different reasons, and it's COVID-related issues. Let's start with Alex Daylock, and really, I don't think we need to give like thoughts or commentary on this. This is just a really upsetting thing to hear. Alex Daylock got COVID back early this year, and due to COVID, he had heart complications. He had a problem with his heart, and everyone thought he'd be back this year, and today we found out he will not be playing this season. Holland phrased it as unlikely playing this season. We know what that means in NHL terms. He's not coming back this year unless there's an actual miracle, which is a shame. I mean, he's a pretty good goalie, and he has. I imagine I haven't looked at any research of it, but he has a family, and
Mm-hmm.
now he's unable to play. And I wish the best for him, because honestly, it really just sucks, the entire situation.
Mm-hmm.
But getting into the more weirder things to talk about. A few days ago, it was reported Duncan Keith was not going to be at training camp on day one. It was reported that he was going to have to be in quarantine for a couple days, till like October 1st. And everyone was like, real funny. I mean, I guess now he's a veteran move. He's not going to have to be there for the first 2 weeks of training camp. Turns out Duncan Keith, like, just got vaccinated, like, not long ago, and he's going to be getting his second shot in between now and October 1st. When he shows up at training camp, he will then be fully vaccinated. Also, I can, like, hear myself through your audio there for a moment.
Oh.
I don't know what's going on there. I can't hear it now, but yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully it wasn't a problem. It seems like it's fixed now. Anyways, I find it interesting that, we learned about this in August, these rules for how life was going to be for unvaccinated players, and how you should probably get vaccinated if you're going to be in the league. And yet, Duncan Keith, a man who's been brought in, and honestly, like, listen, at the end of the day, he got vaccinated. Sure, cool. I don't care. It's honestly just more of a joke to me, the fact that this guy, who is brought in for his intangibles, was brought in for his leadership, waited until the last possible moment to get a vaccine, to help stop the deadly pandemic, which has put us into the situation that we're in the first place. Like, it's preposterous to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final bit of news we learned today was about Josh Archibald. Now, at the time, no names were being thrown around. However, Oilers Twitter pretty much immediately said, when this came out, hey, it's Josh Archibald. Like, there wasn't even any debate. There is one player on the Edmonton Oilers roster who will be unvaccinated to start the year, in Ken Holland's opinion. He did not believe one play. He believed that there was one player that would not be vaccinated in any capacity. And all it took was a quick Twitter search of Josh Archibald's Twitter, in which he tweeted out the video that was made, I think, back in like May of 2020, called Plandemic, in which it talks about how COVID is synthetic and it actually isn't a real virus and how it doesn't have any effects. All it took was that Twitter search, and we all knew. We all knew that it was him. And then Holland came out later and confirmed it. Now, listen, we're not here to step on any political toes or anything like that. We're not, like, if you're against vaccines, whatever. Talking about this from a hockey sense, this is going to have a major impact on Josh Archibald's season.
Yeah.
We've already seen it happen with Zach Ronaldo, who the Blue Jays promptly told to fuck off after they found out he wasn't getting vaccinated, and all that drama. Josh Archibald is not that good of a player. I'm sorry. He's a decent fourth liner. He's replaceable. And because he's unvaccinated, most likely there will be 30 games he will not be able to play in this year because of this unvaccination, and because it's a Canadian team, because of how crazy the border crossing situation is going to be. Like, you're literally going to be able to have him play in, like, home games and other games in Canada. And other than that, you can't have him cross down into America because he won't get the vaccine. So what he's really put himself in a tough situation here. And honestly, I made the argument earlier today in my video. He's replaceable, and honestly, why give him a roster spot when you can give it to someone who can be available every game of the year. You know, like, honestly, I'd be fine if they gave him the Ronaldo treatment. Hey, you go down, you're not even going to be at training camp, you can go play in the AHL. But nope, because the Oilers are the Oilers, he's invited to training camp, he's going to be able to be there unvaccinated around all the players. So do not be surprised if the Edmonton Oilers season does get delayed. Hopefully it doesn't. But if it does, we all know who to blame. Sorry, Josh. Sorry. I hate to I hate to shit on a fellow Josh, but yeah. So let's get away from this before we get canceled for being too political, and move on to hockey matters. We had some signings today, now didn't we?
Yes.
Do you actually
yes,
want
we
to?
did.
Do you want to take your try at announcing some signings so I can give my throat and vocal cords a much needed rest?
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so find it. Okay.
When I go to your place, the first thing I'm gonna do is help you get set up so you're not scrambling last minute on your phone for podcast stuff. I'm gonna help set you up with that. By the way, we're doing a meetup in like 3 days. We're gonna watch a Leafs game. I'm traveling to watch a Leafs game with someone. I feel so wrong about myself. I should wear my jersey, my Oilers jersey, out of spite.
Okay. So the first signing that we had, or it wasn't a huge signing, just Chara going to the Islanders.
Going back home to the team that drafted him, to the team where they traded him away for, I think they got a few pennies out of the deal. I'm not sure though. They got something. They got something out of the deal. The satisfaction of making a trade.
Yeah, I think that's a good pickup for them.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Islanders build their team around defense, and Char is the exact type of guy that fits in with the type of core they're building there. Man, I hope we get another Islanders Bruins series. I just want to see Zdeno Chara stay in that division so he just forever ends up playing like the Boston Bruins in every single playoff round.
Yeah, that'd be good. And then next we have Kyler Yamamoto. 1 year, 1.175. That's a really good signing.
Really good signing, but long-term implications could be an issue. That's the only thing to worry about. Because next year, you look at the Oilers cap situation, it's not that good. It's not that pretty. It looks kind of rough. Because next year, Jesse Puljujarvi's up, Yamamoto's up, and Darnell Nurse makes $9.25 million. So you're gonna have to bending rule, like you're gonna have to trade Zach Kassian, which means Kayla Yamamoto or Jesse Puljujarvi are being dealt because apparently Zach Kassian and his intangibles are more important than either of them.
Yeah, and then there's Logan Brown, 1 year league minimum.
That he wants out. He wants out. I think that the rumor broke a while back. He wants out. He's requested a trade. Just trying to think of a good location for him because like you probably want a situation where he wouldn't be under a lot of pressure. I wonder if I don't know. I wonder if Columbus might take a shot on him. Take another bottom six forward in there. Maybe. Like, I just don't know what team would take a shot on him. If I were the Sens, I would just let him go play over, like, in Scandinavia or something and just be like, there, go level up your career, get back on track, and then we'll talk next year.
Or maybe, like, Nashville.
Nashville, yep, they could be a team. I mean, you can send them to Arizona or Buffalo if you want. Arizona would still probably find a way to be the ones asking you for a draft pick, but who knows?
Now we have Nolan Patrick, 2.4 for 2 years, $1.2 million cap hit.
It's a contract. But
Yeah.
honestly, I am kind of shocked that Nolan Patrick is making $1.2 million while, we have a guy like Bobby Ryan. It's the most random comparison, but I would much rather have Bobby Ryan at $1.2 million than I would Nolan Patrick at this point. I mean, listen,
Hmm.
Patrick might be good. Maybe a change of scenery does him well, but let's just say Philadelphia fans did not have good things to say about him. And when he was gone, they said good riddance. Please give us Ryan Ellis.
Yeah. And now Elvis Merzlikins, $27 million over
Ugh.
5 years, $5.4 million cap hit. Wow.
Pricey. Pricey. Um, Obviously he's good. He's a good goalie. Last year he had it,
Hmm.
but last year he did have a really down year. Now he was on Columbus, uh,
Yeah.
which Columbus pretty much last year epitomized making yourself throw up. Um, but maybe Elvis Merzlikins can bounce back. I don't.
Hmm.
I don't. You're certainly taking a bet in saying, "Hey,
Hmm.
goalie that didn't play well. Here's $5.5 million for the next 5 years." Also, I'm just throwing this out there. Jonas Corposalo. No, actually, Columbus Blue Jackets. You're on the clock with the Jonas Corposalo situation because, if I'm not mistaken, Corposalo is also up at the end of the year, and is arguably worth just as much as Merzlikins. So if you set your market at 5.4, you may have another goalie on your hands to trade.
Hmm.
Don't do what you didn't like. Don't get me wrong, 2019 was fun, but we all agree, universally looking back, we all agree they should not have bought at the deadline. They should have probably dealt Panarin and Bobrovsky before losing them. Like,
Hmm.
obviously at the time it was like, oh my god, Columbus just went on this ridiculous playoff run, yeah. And now it's like, oh, well, look at where the team is now. Everyone's gone. It, it's
Yeah.
it looks like misery. Uh,
Like they wouldn't have had a bad team if they just traded Bobrovsky because they could have got a lot for him and Panarin. They could have
if
got a lot for
if
them.
Florida was willing to give up $10 million in cap for Bobrovsky, I don't want to know what in the Alexander Barkov they would give up for Bobrovsky. Oh man, imagine they're just like Florida is the type of team that would go, "Hey, we'll give you our best player for your best player," and just make it a horrible trade. I feel like they would have done that. It was before Bill Zito was in there, so it so would have happened, and I would have laughed.
Mhm. And then we got probably the biggest one. $45 million, 5 years, $9 million cap hit for Kaprizov.
Kirill the Thrill.
Yep.
Sorry, Phil, your nickname's gone. You're not that guy anymore, pal. Um, yeah, I'm fine with the Kaprizov deal. I think that Minnesota needed to re-sign him. Um, you just have to hope he wasn't a one-year wonder. And
Oh.
I don't think that he was. However, let's just make this clear. Let me look at cap friendly for a sec. Hold on.
Oh God.
Let me pull out the stats, ladies and gentlemen. Let me pull out the statistics. Oh no, it's covering your face. There we go. That's a lot better. We can't cover that up. Let's go to Cat. You're the reason that this show gets any views. It's all of your girlfriends in your school watching this to see you. Anyways, cap friendly. Let's see how many forwards in the NHL make around $9 million. Let's look at just the highest paid forwards in the league. Active players. Let's make sure we're still recording. We are. I'm trying to not have a disaster happen this time. Okay, forwards. Currently, when you look at how much money Kirill Kaprizov makes, he makes as much money as. Actually, let's just sort by forwards because there's defensemen in here. Let me sort by forwards because I think that that's going to make a lot more sense here. Update the results. Kirill Kaprizov is the 19th highest paid forward in the league right now. He makes as much money as Jeff Skinner does.
Okay, but
By the
like Jeff
way.
Skinner is.
Oh no, I wasn't pointing that out to say anything bad about Kaprizov. I'm just pointing that out to shit on Buffalo again. Like, Minnesota just got Kirill Kaprizov over and paid like as much as they did for Skinner. Kirill Kaprizov makes more than guys like Sebastian Aho, guys like at the time. I know it's not as good now, but Steven Stamkos, he makes more money than. Leon Draisaitl, he makes more money than at this moment. That being said, Draisaitl is currently underpaid, and when people talk about the best contracts in the league, I feel like they sleep on the Draisaitl deal a lot. Hart Trophy winner at $8.5 million is not a bad deal at all. Svechnikov makes significantly less than him. You look at the guy, like, he's up there in the company. Like, he only makes a few $100,000 less than Mikko Rantanen, Mark Stone, Evgeny Malkin, Alex Ovechkin. Like, right now, like, after 1 year, I don't know how I feel about that.
I think what they should have done is went for like a 1 year 9 million or like 1 year 8 million or like this deal but like $7 million.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been a lot better.
That being said, though, if you do a 1 year deal, here's your problem. We're back here again next year.
Yeah.
The whole, is he going to go to Russia? Which, by the way, that ended up being completely BS because people then looked into it when it was reported that he was getting offered $10 million to go play in Russia. That's like 80% of the salary cap in Russia. So a team was apparently willing to pay him like 4/5 of their cap for one player who, in the grand scheme of things, might not even be the best player in Russia. Like, okay, buddy. But yeah, so it's a risk, but I think it should work out.
And I feel like also because like if they did go for like a 1, 2, 3 year deal, he would have said no because he knows if he doesn't perform in those years,
Exactly. Yep.
he's screwed.
He probably wanted that term, and Minnesota, what were they gonna do? Say no thanks. We don't want you. All right.
And now and we have Robert Thomas, 5.62 years and $2.8 million cap hit. I mean, like they signed him.
I've never cared less about a contract in my entire life. This is such just a nothing move. Like, don't get me wrong, Robert Thomas is okay, but like, I haven't heard anyone say, "Oh my, did you just see what Robert Thomas did last night?" Yeah, he's great. You see what did you see what good old Robbie did?
No, man.
Like, I'm sorry. It's like he's not bad. He's a good third liner, but it's just I cannot care about that I don't care about the contract at all. It's not like it's just an average deal.
Yeah. And now we have the second biggest one. $8 million, 3 years, $6 million cap hit for Rasmus Dahlin.
I feel like I called this a while back. I feel like maybe it wasn't me, but I feel like one of us said 6/3 a while back on the podcast. Not surprised. I mean, he's probably not worth 6, but you're asking him to play in Buffalo for 3 more years. Also, I guarantee, I'm just saying this right now, I guarantee you that Rasmus Dahlin was offered an 8-year contract at some point. I guarantee.
Probably.
I guarantee you. But even though he left that money on the table, he probably said no. It's not worth it to play in Buffalo. Like, I think the only reason he might have signed this is because he's thinking, okay, in 3 years' time, I'll be 24. This team's either going to be like bouncing back up, or it's gonna be shit still. If it's getting better, I'll sign a long-term extension. If not, I'm gonna Sam Reinhart my way out of this situation and just sign 1-year deal after 1-year deal until they either trade me or I get to go somewhere good. I'm gonna go to Florida. I'm gonna be able to sit on the beach late at night and forget about all the horrors here. I'll be able to deal with my PTSD in this city, and it's gonna be fine. And then Owen Power's gonna do the same thing in like 7 years from now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I like the signing. I don't really know if Dahlin's any good, to be honest. I haven't really seen him play like at all.
When used correctly, he can be good. He is meant to be an offensive defenseman. The problem is that the coach, I think his name was Ralph Kruger before he got fired, he tried using him as like this shutdown defenseman. Like this guy who stands like who just instead of deking with the puck up the ice, he gives like a stretch pass. And then he'd turn it over like every goddamn time. And it was like, well, better try again next time. It hasn't worked for 30 games, Ralph. Good old Ralph. It hasn't been working. I don't think it's going to work this time. Sorry, buddy. I know I'm just an internet kid. I think I know a bit more than you right now, though. You former soccer coach who wanted a bit more cash in his pocket. Shut up.
Yeah, I think he could be like maybe like a Morgan Riley. Maybe like a little bit worse, but like kind of like a Morgan Riley maybe.
Man, this kid, like, it is a shame. Dahlen was compared to Nicholas Lidstrom when he was drafted. Lidstrom. And I guarantee you, he goes to any other city, and we're talking about how he's, like, this is a kid that should be on par with guys like Hughes and guys like McCarr, but he's in Buffalo, so he's not. Because Buffalo ruins you. He's going to Ryan O'Reilly it whenever he leaves. And I'm sorry, Sabres fans, that I'm already saying he's going to leave. You know, he's leaving. He's gone.
Yeah.
He's gonna go. He's not coming home. You're like England and soccer championships. You persist on the idea that it's coming home. You make songs about it saying it's coming home. You never goddamn win a thing. You're always knocked out early. And then you make a finals and you're like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing to ever happen. Shut up. I'm attacking everyone today. I feel mean. I feel like I'm being an asshole, but I don't care.
Yep, and now we have Cal Peterson, about a 15x3, $5 million for. I don't like it. He's 26. He might be starting over Jonathan Quick, which is good.
He is starting over Quick.
No.
Why do we need to hand people ridiculously large amounts of cash right before the season starts after they've had like one good year? Between Cal Peterson, between Darnell Nurse, and between a few other Kaprizov. Well, with Kaprizov it's different because they had to sign him. But with these other guys, it's like have these extensions after one good year. Why can't we just cool our shit here for a minute and see what this guy does in a follow-up year? Is he going to be as good? No? All right, well, then that contract looks bad. And I bet you with a few of these guys, that's what's going to happen. I can't wait to trade 2 first-round picks and Darnell Nurse to Arizona when they're still hoarding draft picks for like a 4th-round pick. I can't wait for that day. It's going to be so good. But we have the cap space. We're going to go use it on... Hold on a second. You carry the podcast.
Okay.
I'm back now. I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, just a knock at the door. Anyways, yeah. What were we on? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, we were talking about Cal Peterson and how he got a ridiculous amount of money. This has been a bad podcast so far. It's been everywhere. Your trivia was like it set the bar for this thing to be so good. And then it just went downhill so fast. This is what the face cam does. I should have never got face cam. Okay, so what do we talk about now?
I don't really know. We can talk about we can like predict how
We're so good at planning.
We can like predict how some players are gonna do. Like we can do from like one from like every team. We can like choose one and predict how they're gonna do.
Okay, over under, pretty much is what you're saying. Like,
Yeah, we can do that.
all right, so we'll go through every team and we'll think of a player, and we can either actually, you know what? No, let's make this more interesting. We go through every team and we pick two players. One that we think is going to be doing better than they were last year, and one that we think is going to degress from last year. That could be what we do. Because honestly, like, there might be some, like, we could talk about how Nikita Gusev is going to be a Toronto Maple Leaf, but
Yeah.
I really don't think that we can fill up another half an hour's worth of time with the idea of Nikita Gusev being a Toronto Maple Leaf. I don't feel. Um,
Mm-hmm.
oh no. I'm sorry, we just got some news here. Evander
Oh,
Kane is now under a separate NHL investigation for unrelated allegations of potential wrongdoing that were brought to the league's attention. So, earlier this week, we found, or I think it might have been last week, we found out that his wife was lying when she accused him of gambling, and now he's under another investigation for a different thing. Evander Kane is an enigma of this sport that is so problematic, yet all it is funny. Yet they just released it. He is under investigation for something else. And we don't know what it is. I cannot wait to find this out. I Are you kidding me? Oh god. Okay, let's do over under now. There's no other names
okay.
to talk about. No one else has been signed. I think, yeah, like we're sorry folks. We don't have all the content this week. It's a mind-numbing day. There's so much going on in my mind. There's just so much happening that it's just overwhelming at this point. Let's hop in to over under. All right? Let's go alphabetically. Let's go by division actually. Let's go by division.
Okay.
We're going to be starting off with the Anaheim Ducks. Name a player that you think is going to do better, and name a player that you think is going to do worse.
Uh, I, between two guys of John Gibson and Trevor Zegras, I'm gonna go with Trevor Zegras is gonna do better,
Mhm.
and someone who's gonna do worse than last year. Hmm. Cam Fowler. I think he'll do worse.
All right. Personally, for me, I do think Trevor Zegras is going to turn a lot of heads this year. So I think that he is going to be the one doing better. When it comes to doing worse, I mean, I am just looking, and you know, John Gibson, he's going to be worse. He's going to
He's gonna do
regress.
worse.
He's going to do worse.
Wow.
I
Even worse than he is?
look at what's in front of him.
Yeah.
His defense is Cam Fowler, Hampus Lindholm, Josh Manson, Kevin Shattenkirk. Even though this team refuses to trade away players on expiring contracts, they cannot ignore the fact that both Lindholm and Manson are up. They are probably going to be gone. Not to mention that Lindholm has had injury problems, especially last year. He was injured for a good amount of last year. There's no reinforcement, and plus I just don't. I think Gibson's about to fall off hard. I think that's what's going to happen, which would be
Mm,
bad for them because I think he has like at least 7 years left on his deal at $6.4 million,
mm,
which is not good.
mm.
So, yeah, Arizona. Who do you think is going to do better and worse in Arizona?
I hope Clayton Keller does better. I hope he has like a
Mm-hmm.
breakout year.
That was gonna be my name too. I think Clayton Keller is going to be the guy that explodes this year. I think he's gonna at
Yeah.
least bounce back up. He's gonna be worth $7 million by the end of the year.
Yep. And worse.
I
Wow,
mean, there's a
there's a
few different
lot
names
of
here.
names.
I mean, well, actually, no, there isn't a lot of names here because here's the problem: their roster is really bad, right? So it's hard for any of these guys to do worse than they were before.
Yeah.
There's really no one.
I'm gonna go Aiden Hill.
He's not even there anymore.
Oh God.
Don't you remember their goaltending is Carter Hutton and Josef Kordar? The best
I
standard in
knew
the
it.
league?
I knew it was bad. I knew it was bad. I knew it was bad.
Wait for San Jose if you want to say that Ned Hill is going to be doing worse than he was last year.
Okay.
Which is weird to begin with because he barely even played last year and was great. Anyways, continue, please.
I'm gonna go Joseph Kornoff then, because who is that?
How can he do worse? He had like an 890 in 4 games. You know what? No, we're taking it. We're taking the pick. Okay. He's the stadium
Oh
sucks.
yeah.
That's the point we're trying to make. I think Clayton Keller is gonna. You know what? No, Keller is the pick that you'll say. I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna go Nick Schmaltz. Nick Schmaltz has underratedly been a bit of a coaster. I think that he can do better this year. And as for who's gonna do worse, I have a hot take name in mind, but I just don't. You know what? No, no. Jacob Chychrun's not going to do as good next year as he did this because it's going to be really hard for him to score as many goals as he did last year. He had like 20 goals as a defenseman. Like, and maybe he proves me wrong, but that sounds like a pace that is unsustainable for me. So
Mhm.
even he might have more points, but in the goal category, I don't think he's going to do as well. So that's why I'm going to say he's going to go down a bit in production. Moving on to
Okay.
Boston, we've thrown this whole idea of going by division out the window, like 2 teams in. Let's go to
Mhm.
Boston. Player that you think is going to explode, player that you think is going to do worse.
Pasternak's gonna do better. He had a year last year. Yeah, he was injured. He's
Okay.
gonna do a lot better.
Okay.
Someone that's gonna do worse. I'm gonna go Bergeron. I don't think he's gonna like drastically do worse, but he's getting older. I think he's gonna degress like a little bit.
That was the name I had on my mind for doing worse. When it comes to who I think is going to do better this year, there are a couple bounce back candidates in my opinion. I mean, Charlie Coyle's not been what he was at one point.
Mm-mm.
Jake DeBrusk is a perennial bounce back candidate. Um, when it comes to who I think is going to break out, I do think it is going to. You know, it's going to be. I think it's going to be Swayman. I think it's going to be Swayman. I think that he's going to break out. I think that he's going to surprise a lot of people. In terms of who's going to fall back, it's actually pretty hard with this team to say
Mhm.
who. But I do agree with you that Bergeron, I think, is going to take a step back. Not even. I don't even think he will defensively. I just think that the point production will not be
Mm.
as present,
Yeah,
which is going to scare Boston a lot because when you look at their center depth, no offense, I do not know who their second line center is.
it's not Krejci.
It's not
And
Krejci. It's either Eric Holla or Charlie Coyle. Did you hear the
mm,
inspiring sound in my voice? This is a very that sounds like a great solution to your David Krejci problem.
yep.
One of the most underrated two-way centers in the league, and you're replacing him with some one whatever those things are. Well, you thought it would be easy. You thought you wouldn't have a team as hard to think about when it comes to an up or down player. We're now on to the Buffalo Sabres. And you have to pick a player that's going to do better and a player that's going to do worse on the Buffalo Sabres.
Uh, I know like two guys on that team. I guess Darlene will do better.
Damn it, why do you always get the guy I'm thinking?
And worse. Uh, like
Do 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 do
oh
do
God.
do.
Uh, are we allowed to use like GMs and coaches or no?
Hold
Okay,
on. Tell
because
me, who's the general manager of the Buffalo Sabres?
it's bad.
Bad. You know what? That would probably be a better general manager than Kevin Adams is. At least he would have traded Jack Eichel by now. Um, do you just want to say that everyone does worse?
Yeah,
Oh God,
yeah.
oh God, this roster is so bad. It's so bad. Cap Friendly doesn't have Jack Eichel listed on their roster, which makes it look even worse. Let me just read off. There are 14 forwards listed. Let me read them off to you, okay? And their cap hits. Jeff Skinner at $9 million is the highest paid forward. Kyle Okposo at $6 million. Victor Olofsson at 3.05. Casey Middlestat at 2.5. Cody Eakin at 2.25. Zemgus Girgensons 2.2. Anders Bjork 1.6. Tage Thompson 1.4. Vinny Hinostroza 1.05. Dylan Cousins 900k. Rasmus Asplund 825. Ryan Mcginnis at league minimum. Drake Cagula at league minimum. And John Hayden at league minimum. That's it. That's the end of the list. That's their forward core. You know what one? The one that really gets me is Ryan Mcginnis,
Yeah,
whose
like
name I don't even think I'm saying right. But yeah, I remember him as the guy who is like 72 overall in NHL 21. Pretty sure that's
oh
the overall.
God.
So yeah, notable superstar Ryan Mcginnis over here. Taking league minimum to come to Buffalo. Honestly, even if you're an AHL guy, I don't understand why you would take a league minimum to come to Buffalo.
Yeah, like
Why?
what?
Go and beg other teams. I'd rather beg another team than do that. Their defense is at least like has names on it. Rasmus Dahlin, Colin Miller, Will Butcher, Henry Jokiharju, and Robert Hagg. Mark Pysyk, he scored a hat trick as a defenseman against the Leafs once. And Jacob Bryson. What's a Jacob Bryson? And then in net, the infamous tandem of Craig Anderson and Aaron Dell. Oh man, at the All-Star game when actually, you know what? Quick detour. Let me give my picks, and then we're gonna do a quick detour. Um, let me just make my picks. So bounce back. I think that Victor Olofsson's gonna do a lot better this year. Just throwing that out there. I mean, he's gonna get top line minutes because
Yeah.
who else are you gonna put on the top line? Like their top line's gonna be Middlestat, Olofsson, Cousins. Because
Um,
after that, like, oh man, I'm excited to see Drake Cagula on the top line of the Buffalo
ooh.
Sabres. That's exciting. Uh, and
Legend.
and when it comes to taking a step back, uh, 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 uh
Yeah.
um, 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 what, that, no, let me search up how bad Colin Miller. Oh no, Colin Miller was pretty bad last year. He can't really get worse. Uh, uh, um, I think that you know what? Let me go to their AHL team for a sec. Let me look.
Oh
Let me take
God.
a look here. Um,
Jack Eichel.
you know what? You know what? You know what? Screw it. I'm taking the easy way out here. I think that Jack Eichel is going to be not be as good as he was last year. Why? Because last year he played for the Buffalo Sabres and got points. This year he will not have any points for the Buffalo Sabres. Boom,
I was,
mic drop,
I was,
destroy the room.
I, I was thinking about him, but I was like, eh.
Yeah, we can use them. Okay. Um, so you know how the NHL persists on having one All-Star from every NHL team? Do you know that?
Yeah, I do.
You know what that means, right?
Rasmus Dahlin is going to be an all-star.
What if they don't have enough defensive room? What if they don't have room for a defenseman on that team? What if there's so many better defensemen than him in the Atlantic Division that Buffalo's representative is a forward? Who the hell goes to the All-Star game for Buffalo? Like,
Even worse.
no
What
offense.
happens if it's a goalie?
Craig Anderson redemption tour, baby. Let's
Let's
go.
go.
I can't wait to trade a 5th-round pick for him at the deadline.
If Craig Anderson gets into the All-Star game, I will get his All-Star jersey.
Oh
I
my
will
god.
if he gets into the All-Star game.
Watch, he's gonna put up a 930 this year. Like, he's just gonna be a god in net. Like, Buffalo's gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna win the Stanley Cup, aren't they? Off the bat.
Buffalo still doesn't make the playoffs.
Like, honestly, Craig Anderson, honestly, the only guy I can think of right now that you could send to the All-Star game is Victor Olofsson. Like, he might be All-Star worthy, but he'd have to have, like, a lot of goals for that. I think
Yeah.
I think Dolan most likely makes it off the team. But also
Yeah.
thinking about this quickly, what about Arizona? Who's going to the All-Star game from Arizona?
I guess Keller, Jacob, Kitchen. I don't know how to pronounce his
Oh
name.
yeah, Chicharito. Okay, well, Arizona are easier to predict, but
Yeah.
yeah, Buffalo, you better hope there's a defenseman at the defensive spot at the All-Star game, or else you're gonna get represented by Cody Eakin at the All-Star game this year. Honestly, you know what I think they should do? They
Oh
should take
God.
the Buffalo Sabres and the Arizona Coyotes and put them in prime time on the Sunday night after the All-Star game and build that as the main attraction.
Hmm.
You watch the All-Star skills competition to see the best skills people do their skills things. Then you figure out which division is the best in the NHL via its best players, which you can argue whether it's their best players or not, because I think like a couple years ago, I think they actually did send Craig Anderson to an All-Star game out of Ottawa one year, even though he
Yeah.
was garbage because they had to. But the main event should be the game between Buffalo and Arizona. They should have an exhibition game. You know what? Put it outdoors and pay 100,000 people to be in it. That's right. They're not paying you to be in it. You're paying them to go do it. Pay 100,000 people and have the Loser Dome.
Oh
Or
God.
like rip off
They
WWE Loser Mania.
they play where the Detroit Lions play.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
They play in Detroit, and you have to go big on this one. Like, honestly,
Mm.
screw the finals. This is the biggest event of the calendar year. Like,
Oh
promote,
God.
whether you're in Canada, whether you're in America, if you're a broadcaster, what you're promoting is this game, not the All-Star game, the game. That would be great. I'd love that. Okay, let's get back on topic.
Yeah.
As for over under here, until we get into another meme to talk about,
Mhm.
Calgary. Who's gonna do better or worse than Calgary? I'll go first on this one.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to who's gonna bounce back, I see it being Sean Monahan. I think he's got a bit more in him than what he showed last year, so I think he's gonna bounce back. When it comes to who I think is going to regress this year, you could see the warning signs in Jacob Markstrom that he was going to do worse, but he still kind of held up last year. Jacob Markstrom's going to fall off, and it's going to turn into another bad goaltending signing by the Calgary Flames. Something they've been really good at, like, over the past decade. Remember when, like, Jonas Hiller and Victor Faust were guys that started? Remember when the Flames, like, relied on Kari Ramo to make the playoffs that one year? Things have not been good in net in Calgary. It just gets worse.
Mhm.
Who do you think's getting better? Who do you think's getting worse in Calgary?
I could take the easy way out and go Gaudreau. No, I'm not. I'm gonna go Hannafin's gonna do better.
Oh, okay.
I think Noah Hannafin's gonna have like his breakout year and he'll do a lot better.
Fair. Fair. Who do you think?
And and worse. Hmm. I think I'm gonna go with Gaudreau. I think Gaudreau might do like worse.
Wow. Man, if I imagine if Goudreau does do worse, what do you do with him then? Do you trade him for nothing, or do you try and re-sign him and flip him later down the line?
Yeah.
That'd be a real question. Also, by the way, Matthew Tkachuk's up at the end of this year. Just thought I'd point that out. Like, He's no longer signed to that team at the end of this season. Like that is that's a problem because Matthew Tkachuk's like pretty good. And yeah, he's kind of the heart and soul of that team as well. Moving on to Carolina, where their heart and soul was thrown out in an attempt to get Tony DeAngelo. Who do you think is going to do better, and who do you think is going to do worse on this team?
I think better. I think Sebastian Aho will do better.
Okay.
And worse, I'm I'm gonna go Frederick Anderson, just because he was injured last year and he hasn't played a full season for a little bit.
All right. All right. There's a lot of guys on this team that I think could do better. I think Jesperi Kotkaniemi's in the running, just
Ooh.
because the change of scenery I think could do him well. Teuvo Teravainen, maybe he could do a bit better. But personally for me, and I think it's just because I'm an Oilers fan, I have to be a homer for this guy. I'm going to go Ethan Bear. In Edmonton, Ethan Bear showed the signs of being able to be a top four defenseman, but because he didn't play the way the team needed him to, Ethan Bear never got his shot in Edmonton. He's going to get a shot here because on the right-hand side for this team, it's him, Brett Pesce, and Tony DeAngelo. And Brett Pesce is good defensively, but other than that, they do not have any other defensive reinforcement other than, of course, Ethan Bear. Ethan Bear is my guy. And also for getting worse, I forgot. For getting worse, I think that Frederick Anderson could be a candidate for that. I'm going to go with an off-the-board one here and say Jordan Stahl's going to get worse. 33 years old, aging a little bit more. That body's starting to wear out a little bit. I think he's going to go down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to the Chicago Blackhawks. Who's going to do better? I don't know. Like, honestly, I think Seth Jones is going to do better just because he had a really bad year last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that he can bounce back. When it comes to who I think is going to do worse, I mean, am I a devil for saying Marc-Andre Fleury? He's
No.
36. Like, the clock's got to call at some point here, man. I think that he does go down. Not a lot, but he's not going to be in Vezina conversation this year.
No.
Who do you think's getting better?
For me, I go with Taves because he just didn't play last year.
You're right. If we're using the Eichel logic, but the other way, he technically, all he has to do is have, like, 1 point.
Yeah.
And he'll do better than he did last year because he didn't do anything last year.
Yeah.
Who do you think's doing worse?
I think Lehkonen, their goalie, will do worse, or their backup.
Lankinen. Okay. Yep. Yeah, that I could see that. I could see the
Mm-hmm.
sophomore regression coming. Moving on to the Colorado Avalanche now. I look at that team. I see who could do worse. I honestly do not know at this moment who could do worse. There's just so many good players here that I don't think will go down. But last year, oh man, this is actually tough. This is actually really tough. Who's gonna do better? Bowen Byram's gonna do better. He's gonna take a step forward. He's gonna progress. In terms of who's gonna get worse, I don't know. I don't know who's gonna do worse on this team. I mean, you can say Eric Johnson and cheap out, but honestly, he's not been that good for a while now. JT Compher, I think, is going to do a bit worse than he did last year, offensively, but not a lot. Like, I don't really think there's anybody on this team that's going to do explicitly worse.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think?
For better, I'm gonna go with Tyson Yost.
Okay.
I feel like he'll have a pretty good year this year.
Mm-hmm.
And worse, I want to say McKinnon just because he's been like, kind of telling his teammates the way to eat and stuff. But like, I'm not gonna say him because it's Nathan McKinnon.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna go Ranta. I'm pretty sure he's getting up there in age.
Ranta? Or Ranty?
Yeah, Ranta, their goalie.
You're thinking about Carolina here. We're on Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Ranta's not on Colorado.
The guy they got from Arizona, the goalie.
Kemper.
Kemper, yes. I always get them mixed up.
Yep, the Finnish goalie and the Canadian goalie are very, very easy to confuse. Moving on to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Ah. Ugh. This is. Jacob Voracek's going to do better. It's hard for him to go down from where he was. And you could also say Max Domi in that department, but I'm not going to. Oh, God. This roster is so filled with guys who are mediocre. You know what? Screw it. Patrick Laine is going to get worse. Patrick Laine, I don't think he... See, it's weird because I'm really torn on what to think about Patrick Laine. Part of me thinks he's going to bounce back with a new coach, and part of me thinks that Columbus isn't going to work out for him, and it really just changes on the dime for me.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to say a different thing in a couple days from now, but Patrick Laine, for me at this moment, I feel like I just don't... I wouldn't be surprised if he gets flipped. What are you thinking?
For better, I think Domi.
Okay.
And for worse, I'm gonna go Elvis Merzlikins.
Okay. Moving on to Dallas, the Dallas Stars. I look at that team, I see who there is there, and this is another one where it's just kind of like, there's not a ton here. So, what I will say is this. Jason Robertson had a really crazy year last year, and I do think that maybe, while he doesn't regress, he does come down a couple notches. Meanwhile, when I think of who's going to do better, take a look out for, where is he? He's not on the NHL, but I think he will play NHL games. Look out for Jake Ottinger. This might be his year.
For me, I think worse. I'm gonna go with Ben Bishop. He's old.
He's not playing.
Oh, then Antoine Hudobin.
Okay. Yep, Anton Hudobin. Man, guys, please don't make fun of Colin in the comments below. Okay, he's a very busy and tired man. Okay, and he does not spend his life on Cap Friendly like I do. Okay, he has a life. I don't. There's a big difference. And who do you think's gonna do better?
Better, I'm gonna go with Miro Heiskanen.
Thank God he named someone that was on the actual team.
Woo,
Good
let's
selection.
go.
Detroit. Who's ready to make picks for Detroit? Let's see. Who's going to do better on this team? I think that Philip Zadina is going to have his breakout year this year. And I think that Tyler Bertuzzi is going to have regression this year because he is... he's a good player, but unfortunately, he's going through the similar situation. At least, maybe not to the same extent, but we were talking about how Josh Archibald, Zach Ronaldo don't want to get vaccinated. Same thing with Tyler Bertuzzi. He's not going to be getting vaccinated, meaning he won't be able to go bordering at all, and it's just going to create complications. So I think he ends up not being as good as thought to be. Colin, your picks?
Yes, I'm gonna go with Larkin. Will do better.
Okay.
Thank you, Will. And I'm going one that's a little off the board. I think Verona might. He played really good with Washington. Now he's on Detroit, and it's Detroit.
Yeah. Like, those early returns were pretty good, but that being said, we'll have to see how he sets in for a full season with Detroit, I think. Moving on to the Edmonton Oilers. And I want you to go first. Who do you think does better? Who do you think does worse?
Uh, I want to see Kyler Yamamoto do better.
Okay.
And for worse, I think I'm just gonna go with Josh Archibald.
Okay. Yeah, that's a sensible one. Now, obviously,
Mhm.
with me being a fan of this team, I know more about this team than others. There are so many names I could say for both categories here. I should probably actually do a video talking about it, but um, I take a look at the team. There are some forwards I'm intrigued with about getting better and getting worse. I do think Yamamoto is a good option to throw out there, but I'm going to stick on the defense for this one. When it comes to who I think is going to do better, I think Evan Bouchard's about to break out this year. He is this team's third right-hand defenseman, and they want to play him. He's going to play this year, and he is going to find a long-term role, and I think that he might also find himself on power play, so that could help his production.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, taking a look at who I think is going to do worse, Darnell Nurse is not going to score 16 goals this upcoming season. He is not going to. He is taking a step back. He is not getting better. Moving on to the Los Angeles Kings. If I were to look at this team, look at the guys that they have, I think that we are going to see regression out of Drew Doughty. I personally think that last year was a bit of a fluke. I think that he's going to regress this season. When it comes to who I think is going to do better, so many rookies on this team that could explode. I think that Gabriel Velarde played well last year, but I think that this year, after finding 1 year of stability in LA, I think in the second full season, Gabriel Velarde is going to set in, and I think that he is going to prove to be one of the more underrated parts of the LA Kings young core. Everyone talks about Byfield and Turcotte, Kaliev, those big names for good reasons, but I think hiding there in the background is the guy that was selected with the 11th overall pick in 2017, Gabriel Velarde.
Hmm. I think for better, I'm gonna go with an interesting one. I think Kopitar is gonna have a good year. I don't know
Okay.
why. And for worse, Cal Peterson.
Okay. All right. Moving on now to Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Minnesota. I look at the team. I see who could go up and down. I don't think that Kaprizov's going to go down. I think if someone's going to go down on that team, you look at the players. I think Cam Talbot might regress this year in net for them. I think that that's the guy that could go down. And when it comes to who I think is going to surprise a lot of people, I'm going to go with the rookie, who people might not predict to be on this team even. Marco Rossi is back to full health. He's back to playing shape. He will most likely be, I think he is at the training camp. He will probably get an NHL role. He'll play with Kirill Kaprizov most likely, and he's gonna be really good, really good.
Hmm. For me, I think worse. I'm gonna go with Matt Dumba.
Okay.
And for better, I'm gonna go with Joel Eriksson. I mean,
Ooh,
he had a
okay.
really good season last year, and I think he'll do better.
All right. Moving on to Montreal. Very interesting team, a team you know all too well for
Hmm.
all the wrong reasons. Better and worse. I think Jonathan Drouin finally does something in Montreal this year. For the past 5 years, it's been like, okay, you're a decent player, but when are you actually going to, start doing what you were supposed to do? And I think this year he's going to
Hmm.
break out. Will he play center? We'll see. He isn't as much needed at center now with Christian Dvorak's existence, but I think it would still be nice to have him at center, maybe on the third line. I think he could break out 50-point type player. That's what I'm thinking. When it comes to who I think is going to take a step back, I think that when it comes to, oh man, it's tough. Mike Hoffman is not going to do that good this year.
For me, better. I'm gonna go with Jonathan Drouin. I mean, last couple of years he's been dealing with the depression and stuff. So I think this year he will get over that
Hmm.
hump and do good.
Yep.
And for worse, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna go Carey
I
Price.
knew it.
Like,
I know what the Montreal fans are currently going to type in the comments. You Toronto scum! You just saying that because you're jealous. Quebec is so much better than Ontario. But yes, I could see Carey Price taking a step back, especially with his injury. Moving on. Oh God, we just made them mad. Run for the hills. Moving on to the Nashville Predators now. Just clicking onto their page, looking at their roster. Who's gonna get worse and who's gonna get better? We have a problem. This team had a not good year last year, and they really only have players that can get better. For me, I think that Luke Kunin takes a tad bit of a step back. Not even a lot of one, but a tad bit of a step back. Um, actually, you know what? No, I'm changing my mind. Changing my answer on this one. Roman Yossi's taking a step back. There, I said it. Hate me. I said it. When it comes to who I think could bounce back, I mean, can I just say like the whole team? Like, I think Matt Duchene's gonna do better. Johansson's gonna do better. Forsberg's gonna do better. Tolvanen, I think, is gonna take a step forward. Ekholm, I think, is gonna do a tad bit better. Dante Fabro, I think, is gonna take a step forward. Just so many guys. If you had, I guess, if I'm gonna nail it down to one, I'm gonna say Eli Tolvanen's gonna break out this year and become a top 6 forward, legitimate one, and that contract's gonna look like a steal.
for me, better. I'm gonna go with UC Saros. I really like him.
Wow.
I think he'll do really good.
You're
Or not
thinking
really good, but
you're
I think
thinking
he'll do
you're
better.
thinking Vesna maybe?
No,
No. Okay.
no. But he'll be kind of, I don't know.
Vesna voting?
I think he'll be top 10 by the end of the year.
I'd say he's already top 10 now.
Yeah. And then for worse, like, I guess, like, Bro and Yossi, I guess. Like, I know you said him, but, like,
It's
there's no
incredibly
one else.
it's incredibly difficult to just pick a team in that category.
Hmm.
Moving on to New Jersey, with who's going to do better and who's going to do worse. I'm really hoping the name I'm about to say comes true. Jack Hughes is. I'm praying this kid takes a step forward. I love Jack Hughes. God damn it. He's such a fun hockey player. Score 90 points this year, please. Just do it. Like, I don't think he will, but boy, do I want him to. I so want him to score 90 points this year. When it comes to who I think is going to take a step back, I'd say Andreas Janssen, but Andreas Janssen sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know how you trade him for what you did at the time. Um, no. Jonathan Bernier is going to take a bit of a step back, man. Like, not a lot of one, but he's 33. He's not going to be the guy they signed.
Okay. For better, I hope he does better. Nico Hischier. I hope he does
It's
better.
pretty much his final year to prove that he's going to
Yeah.
be a really good top 6 center. Oh, by the way, he makes like $7.25 million for the next 7 years. He better be pretty good. Better be a top flight centerman because he's being paid like one. That's going to be a lot of money to pay for a guy who's like third line guy, isn't it? So
Wow.
safe to say he has a lot to prove. Did I also forget to mention he's the captain? I think I forgot to mention
Wait,
that as
what?
well. He's the captain of the
No.
team. No. Want me to send you the screenshot? Do you want?
Yes. No way Nico Hischier is a captain.
I'll show you. I will do this
I
right now. Let me
swear
just
to God, it seems like an edited picture. The C on his
I'm not.
jersey.
No, no. I'm genuinely not. I'm genuinely not kidding. I'm genuinely not kidding at all. Like, I know it sounds like I'm BSing you. I'm not.
Mhm.
Click. I'll send it to you on Instagram right now, because
Okay.
I honestly cannot believe it myself, but it's a thing. It's an actual thing, and it's
Wow.
beautiful. All right. Instagram, Colin, get the photo. Yeah, yep, send it. There it is. There it is. Nico Hischier with the C by his name. He's the captain.
I don't
So,
know how I didn't know this. I feel like I did and then forgot about it because Nico Hischier.
you know, the funniest thing is that they don't even have any assistant captains right now because they traded them all away. They have Nico Hischier as captain, and he's the only person with a letter. So it is safe to say you're right in Nico Hischier taking a step forward, because not only is he a former number one overall pick, not only does he make $7.25 million, but he's also the captain of the team. So you're kind of hoping he's good this year.
Yeah. And worse, this one is interesting. I'm gonna go with Mckenzie Blackwood. I don't think he will do as good as he did last year. Like, yeah, last year he had a really good year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he'll follow up with it. He might,
Wow.
but
All right. Well, we each have a New Jersey goaltender getting worse this season. Moving on into the New York Islanders now. When it comes to who could do better, Oliver Wahlstrom is going to show up and be phenomenal. Also, by the way, we still do not know how much money Zach Parise makes next year. I just wanted to throw that out. His contract details still haven't been released. Neither have Zdeno Chara's.
huh,
Assume minimum on both of them, but Lou, you you realize once it's known that you have signed the guy, you don't need to hide the contract details as well. Like,
yeah.
you're allowed to say things to the world. Like, Twitter
Mhm.
exists. Just tweet out how much they make, please. But yeah, I think Oliver Wahlstrom takes a big step forward. In terms of who I think could get set back a bit, I mean, Josh Bailey's 31, so I'm just gonna go with him. Because why not?
For me, for who's gonna do worse or take a step back, I think Jordan Eberle will.
He's in Seattle.
Or oh god damn it! Oh,
Oh
I meant
god.
Brock Nelson.
Yes, he
Oh,
is on the team. This is a...
I just for like.
Who do you think's gonna get better, Griffin Reinhart?
Probably
Phil Kessel is
um,
about to explode in Toronto this year. I guarantee it.
I think Barzell will do better.
All right. Well, next up we're going to the Rangers. The Rangers, okay? We're talking about players on the Rangers.
Okay.
I think that Lafreniere is going to do better, and I think that when it comes to who's taken a step back, I think that Chris Kreider is going to take a step back. Boom. Done.
Okay. I think Shesterkin is going to take a big step forward,
All right.
and who's going to take a step back or get worse? I think Sabin will.
Okay. There we go. See, it's not that hard to name players on the team. It's not that difficult. He's going to get made fun of for that, not only for the rest of this podcast, but the entire time I'm at his house in a couple days' time. It's going to be that joke all day long.
Yeah.
He has to deal with me for a whole day, by the way, guys. That's look at the happiness in his eyes. He's excited. He is fired up. Ottawa. I think that when it comes to Ottawa, we are going to see Shane Pinto show up and be a top six forward. And I think we're going to see Matt Murray continue to burn his career down.
Cool. I think for better, There's a lot of young options.
Hmm.
Wow.
Their
I,
average forward age is 23.8 years old.
ooh, I think Shabbat will do better.
Okay.
And for worse, I don't even think he'll do worse. I think he'll just take like a step back. Is oh, I fell into my tongue.
Oh no.
He's a Russian rookie last year.
Artem Zub.
No, I think he's Russian. He's probably not.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but the only Russian on this team is Artem Zub.
Oh,
I can't wait to
uh,
see which Vancouver Canucks player you end up pulling up here.
oh my God, I just don't know his name. Oh, Tim Stützle. I think he'll take a step back.
Notable Russian Tim Stützle.
Yep,
He's from Germany. You son of a
yep. I
bitch.
thought he was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you big brain.
I,
You knew all along.
I knew it was one of the two.
I'll shoot my shot here, and I'll see. Maybe I'll just
Yeah,
somehow come
hopefully.
out right. Philadelphia. Philadelphia. I think that they are gonna. Carter Hart's gonna be better. Rasmus Ristolainen's gonna be worse. Bing bang boom.
Okay.
They're gonna pay. They
I
would have paid a first and a second round pick for a guy who's up at the end of the year who sucks. He's gonna go and it's gonna be seen as a failure, and they're probably still gonna make it to like the third round because Philadelphia. Doop
yeah.
doop 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 doop.
I think better is gonna be Cam Atkinson. He's
Okay.
getting a little old, but I think he'll do better.
Columbus Blue Jackets forward Cam Atkinson.
Yep,
That was just a joke, by the way.
I
He
know, but
is on
like
Philly.
I know,
He's
and
just
I knew
used
that
to it
one.
at this
I
point. He's used to
uh-huh.
being wrong.
And where's Claude Giroux? I think he's getting a little bit old. I just don't see him doing as good as he was.
All right. Moving on to Pittsburgh now. I can't believe it. We've almost made it through this entire podcast without an error. I'm going to be able to hit upload on this and not have to edit anything. It's going to be wonderful. Also, we've been doing
Wow.
this for over an hour and a half now, just as a thing to point out as well. We've been here for a while. Yes. Um
Wow.
Pittsburgh. Who do I think is going to do better? I think Tristan Jarry is going to bounce back and not give the puck to the New York Islanders immediately after getting it on his stick. And
Yeah.
I think that Evgeny Malkin in a contract year is going to not do that good.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go with Kasperi Kapanen. I think he'll do better.
Okay.
And worse, Chris Letang.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Moving on to the San Jose Sharks. Da-na-na. I think that Brent Burns is going to be worse. And I think that Manny Ferraro's going to be better. He's the only person on this team under the age of 25 that has like NHL a chance of being an NHLer other than Timo Meyer, but then again still.
Mhm. I think better will be Thomas Hurdle.
Okay.
I think I like him. He's
Mm-hmm.
pretty good. Worse. Wow. My boy Aiden Hill.
You got the
uh,
right team for Aiden Hill this time, by the
let's
way.
go.
Give him a
Uh,
congrats.
yeah, probably Mark Edger Vlasic.
Edward. Not Edward.
Same thing. Okay.
You are not having it. Note to
Same
self: an
thing.
hour is too long for him to be on the podcast. You're like a
My bedtime.
yeah, I was about to say, like, you're like a little kid. We need to get you to bed sooner than that. Okay, and speaking of you messing up players on teams, Seattle!
Oh
Who's
God.
gonna do better and who's gonna do worse on Seattle? I get to look at Cap Friendly. He gets to think and
Well,
hope he
I,
guesses the
well,
right
I already
player.
know who's gonna do worse. I already said him for the wrong team.
You know what? You're gonna go first. I'm not even gonna give you the opportunity to listen to my wordings.
Oh,
So you think
I
Jordan
think
Eberle's gonna do worse?
yes, and worse. I think Yanni Gord. I think he will do a lot better. I think he can be like somewhat of a wonderline number one line center. Like Tampa's
Number
like
one
holding him
line
back.
center. He has not been through grade 10 English yet, folks, so that's why he's so
I'm
unadvanced right now.
actually taking English tomorrow.
I should clip this and send it to your teacher, because I imagine that she would appreciate how much work she has to do. Anyways, who do I think is going to do better on Seattle? I think that Cal Yarncrocs about to blow up a bit. I think that Jared McCann might be able to. I'm going to go Jared McCann, I think, here. I think
Leafs
he's
legend.
Leafs legend Jared McCann. And when it comes to who I think is going to do worse, I don't really know, so I'm just going to go with the oldest guy on the team in Mark Giordano. Moving on to the St. Louis Blues. You know what? You get to go first for the rest of this because I don't want to give you an opportunity.
Oh God.
I want to test your actual knowledge.
Who will do better?
Oh God.
Tarasenko.
I'm sorry. Okay, Tarasenko. I'm sorry. I just saw someone that they signed that I had no idea they signed, and I will tell you that name when we get to it. I just did not realize that there was this person that they signed. You think Tarasenko's going to do better?
Mhm.
Okay.
And the worst. I think Colton Parayko.
Okay. So the player I was shocked about signing in St. Louis. Did you know that Brandon Saad is a member of the St. Louis Blues? Like, did you know he signed a 5-year deal worth $4.5 million per year in St. Louis?
When did this happen?
It happened. Um, Let me look. It happened the second day of free agency. Just kind of happened.
Wow, I don't. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
no.
yeah. It's I I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So yeah. When it comes to who I think is going to do better and worse, I think that Robert Thomas is going to have a good year. I know I clowned on him earlier. He's going to be better. And Jordan Binnington is going to prove he's not a starting goalie, even though he's locked up and being paid like it. 6 years at $6 million. He's not going to live up to that contract. Moving on to the T's now. I think Tampa Bay is our next team. Um, who do you think's doing better? Who do you think's doing worse on Tampa Bay?
Better, I think. I'm gonna go with Mikhail Sergeyev.
Sir Sergachev? Like, what did you?
Stop. And
Sergachev. Okay.
yes, worst. Hmm. I guess like Zach Bogosian.
Okay.
Pains me to say.
Okay. For me, every year the Tampa Bay Lightning seem to have that one young guy that just comes out of nowhere and ends up being like a top 6 forward. Ross Colton's my pick for this year. Notable Stanley Cup winning goal scorer. And when it comes to who I think is going to do worse, Victor Hedman.
Yeah.
Moving on to your team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. I swear, I really hope you get one wrong here and you pick someone
Oh
that's
no.
not there.
Phil Kessel. uh, I think that worse. Worse. I think Matthews won't do drastically worse in the part of goals. I think he'll take a little bit step back because last year he was on pace for like a lot,
Okay.
and I don't think he'll be able to do that this year. And for better, I just hope John Tavares just takes a breakout year.
Well, actually, in a way, I'm kind of opposite of you because I think John Tavares is going to take a step back this year again, and I think his regression is going to start. And I think that 4 years left at $11 million is going to start not looking so good for the organization. Meanwhile, in the terms of taking a step forward, Nick Robertson.
Yeah.
It's going to be Nick. If he's allowed to play in the NHL, Nick Robertson. It's going to be the guy. Moving on to our V's now, starting in Vancouver. Okay, an hour and 35-minute mark now, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very long show. I hope you guys have liked by this point and subscribed for more of these. And it's so hot in this jersey too, guys. Please subscribe. Vancouver. Who do you think's taking a step forward? Who do you think's taking a step back?
Step forward, Brock Besser. He was good for like the first 2 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Took a decline. He's going to do better, or he better, because
Mm-hmm.
worse.
Contract year for him, by the way, as well. So
Oh,
more reason to want to play good.
worse. uh, Ekman Larson.
Okay. Okay. Um, I'm actually in disagreement with you. I think Ekman Larson's actually going to have a good year one. I think Ekman Larson's going to bounce back in a new city. I think the year after he's going to fall through the earth and not be good. But year one, he's going to be fine. And he's going to bounce back. The expectations can't really be that high of him because he's trash. So
Yeah.
just think about it like this. I'm not even saying he's going to be great, but he's just going to be, instead of a trash can, he's going to be a trash can that you painted, that you cleaned, and that you refurbished. Good looking trash is what I'm trying to say. And when it comes to taking a step back, Tanner Pearson is the only guy I see.
Or maybe like JT Miller.
Possibly. I'm going to go Tanner Pearson, though. All right, moving on to our next team, the Vegas Golden Knights. Let's see what we got here. Who do you think's taking a step back? Who do you think's taking a step forward?
Step back, I'm going to go with Robin Lehner.
Okay.
I just think he might. Better, Cody Glass is going to have a breakout year.
All right. For me, I take a look at the team here. I think that Max Pacioretty takes a step back.
Yeah.
And I think that we see the rebound of Evgeny Dadonov. Also, oh my... I just realized, it took me a minute to realize. When you say Cody Glass, do you mean Nashville Predators forward Cody Glass?
What? Oh my god.
Remember they did the thing where they flipped, where Nashville got
No.
Philip B. Myers and Nolan Patrick, and then Vegas and Nashville. Cody Glass went to Nashville. Vegas got Nolan Patrick.
I'm sorry. I guess better, I guess Nolan Patrick.
Okay. Oh god, this is great. This is great entertainment. You realize now I have to name the podcast after your idiocy in some way. I have to now. This is too much. This is too much. You're lucky we only have 2 teams left, okay?
Oh my
So
god.
just don't screw it up. Washington, who's taking a step forward and who's taking a step back? Please only name Washington Capitals players, please.
Okay. Ovechkin will take a step back.
Okay.
A step forward. Samson. The goalie that has a last name that starts with an S. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like Samsonov or something like that.
Samsonov.
I was so close, but okay. I was close.
I'm taking a look at this team. I think that Connor McMichael's going to debut, and he's going to be really good for the Capitals. I think that we're going to end up seeing probably TJ Oshie take the step back. And finally, going to Winnipeg.
Step forward. Pierre Dubois better have step forward.
So Pierre-Luc Dubois is going to be better.
Yes, hopefully.
All right.
And worse, Blake Wheeler. Getting a little old.
Congrats, you didn't screw anything up on your last shot. I think that I actually agree with you with Dubois doing better, and I think we're going to see. Honestly, yeah, I agree with what you said. I think Wheeler's going to take a step back as well. Also, fun fact: Mark Scheifele will not play Game 1 of the year because he's still suspended from that hit he gave to Jake Evans in the playoffs. I just remember that little fact that
That's so random too.
he's not. I think I don't know if it's one more game. I think it's just one more game, but it might be two.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they played the Montreal Canadiens in the game that he was suspended just for the memes. Please. You know what it should actually be? It should be a playoff suspension. Shouldn't carry over into the regular season. It should be you got suspended in the playoffs, then next year when the playoffs roll around, you miss game 1 due to suspension for what you did the year before in the playoffs.
Wow.
So that's it, folks. I think Colin messed up a grand total of 7 times.
That didn't help. Jeez, that's not good.
Well, let's see. You said Aiden Hill was in Arizona. Cody Glass was still in Vegas. You thought Jordan Everly was still in the island. Sir Gotgev or Sir Kadgev? I don't know how you said
I
it.
said Surgica.
Surgicev.
You know what I mean. Oh my god.
Oh man. Man, oh man, oh man. He hates me so much right now.
I said it right the first time too. That's the worst part.
Yeah, that is a pretty bad thing. Also, I don't even remember how you first pronounced Samsonov, but I know you did not
Oh,
pronounce it.
Samsonov.
No, not even that. It was worse. I don't even
And
remember. Samsonev? I don't know what you said, but you said something pretty. The point is, you screwed up, and next time that I quiz, then I think the next time what I should do for your trivia is just put 5 really hard hockey names on the screen and just say pronounce them, and have you.
or just like what team is or what
What player is
what
this?
yeah, what player does Sammy Blast play for? Or what team does Sammy Blast play for?
Sammy. You
Oh
still
my
found a
god.
way to mess it up. It's Sammy Blay,
Yeah, but it's spelled Blaz,
but it's pronounced
technically.
Blay.
Yeah, I know, but like too bad, so sad.
You can't even hear me punch my
Okay.
fist. Okay,
Like
I'm
yeah.
I'm gonna save Colin before he sacrifices himself to the hockey name gods. Folks, that's it for this episode of the WarnerCast. We really hope you enjoyed. We certainly talked about a lot. We talked about COVID, and then we ended off by talking about how this guy is illiterate. Um, the funniest part is he doesn't even know that word that I insulted him with,
I
so
think
he can't even respond to it.
I'm not even gonna say like I think I kind of know, and then because then you're gonna be like, okay, what is it? And then I'm gonna say something that's gonna be like totally wrong. So I'm just not gonna say
Ladies
anything.
and gentlemen, he is now afraid of me.
No,
He's
I'm just
now
afraid of getting it like 9 times wrong now, and that's even
because
worse.
5 people watching this are really gonna laugh at you on social media.
Yes.
All right, folks, that's going to be it for this. Thank you all for watching this episode of the podcast. We will see you all next week. Don't forget, we're going to be upping the ante podcast-wise when the regular season starts. We've still got a lot of time left to kill. God, we still have this next week and then the week after. And then, wait, no, wait, hold on. Checking behind me the calendar I have conveniently placed. We still have 1 week, 2 weeks actually, and then it's Thanksgiving, and then the season starts after Thanksgiving. So we still have 2 more episodes to go of whatever it is that we're doing right now. I don't know what it is. We'll see. Thank you all for watching. We will see you all next time. Goodbye for now.